Who's up for some breakfast items today? Welcome back, friends. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm going to be making some French toast, different variations of pancakes. Not really sure what else, but it's going to be a lot. I have my well-used electric griddle right here, so I'm going to get this heated up. So come join me and let's get started. How about some buttermilk pancakes? First I need to make the buttermilk. I need 1 cup, so I'm going to measure just under 1 cup of milk. About a tablespoon of lemon juice. If you have white distilled vinegar, that's fine too. Just have some lemon juice. Good. And then we're just going to let this sit while you mix up the rest of the batter, and it will curdle up and look all yummy. If you have sour milk, you could use that in place of the buttermilk. 1 cup of flour, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half of a teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 egg, 2 tablespoons of oil. You can use canola or vegetable. And then add the buttermilk. And then whisk that together. It's going to be lumpy, that's okay. Make sure you get all of that out from the whisk too. It likes to hide out there. It's a little lumpy, that's okay. You can just put this on a hot griddle and make your pancakes, or you can put it in the refrigerator and use it later, like if you make it the night before. I'm gonna put mine in my batter dispenser. These are not necessary. You can always just use a ladle or a spoon to make the pancakes. This was gifted to me, so I have it and I will use it. Put the lid on that, and then I'm just going to refrigerate this until I'm ready to use it. How about some chocolate chip pancakes? I need 4 tablespoons of melted butter. 4 tablespoons is half of a stick. I'm just going to cut that in half. And then unwrap it. We don't want to eat the paper. And then microwave that until it melts. I need 1 3/4 cup of flour, just all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, 2 eggs, 1 cup of milk. I have skim milk, you could use any kind. Whisk that together, break the yolks, and then add the melted butter. And whisk that together. 3/4 teaspoon of vanilla. I have a teaspoon. Just gonna do that. Maybe an extra splash. Who cares, right? It's good. What was the point of measuring? I do not know. It's going to be lumpy. That's okay. Get the bottom really good. 3/4 of a cup of chocolate chips. You can use milk chocolate chips or semi-sweet. Mix that up. And again, you can refrigerate this if you'd like. Make it the night before, that's fine. Just make sure you whisk it one more time before you use it, because the chocolate chips sink to the bottom. I'm going to turn my griddle to 275 degrees. Drizzle some oil on and then spread it around. And I'm going to let this sit for about 90 seconds to get it nice and hot. Okay, this is nice and hot. I'm just going to squeeze and let some of the batter out. This makes 2 cups of batter. These are really good with applesauce on top or syrup, of course. You cook them until they're dry around the edge, and then you want some bubbles popped in the center. This one actually looks about done. Ready? Yep, perfect. You can kind of peek underneath if you need to. I would check the bottoms after about 30 seconds. You don't want them to burn. These aren't terrible. I'm just gonna let them get a little bit more color. So maybe 20-30 seconds. All right, 20 seconds, that looks perfect. Those are the buttermilk pancakes. Actually, that one looks good already, so just keep an eye on them. With the chocolate chips too, they might burn a little bit, so be careful with that. While you're cooking this, you can serve them. You can stick them in the oven on warm. If you don't have a warming function on your oven, you can always just set it at the lowest setting, and that will just keep them warm while you cook up the rest of the pancakes. I think these are done. You can serve these with a dusting of powdered sugar on top. Some people like syrup on there. I think that's a little too sweet, but a little powdered sugar I think is really good. Maybe some butter. There's your chocolate chip pancakes. All right, I'm gonna make some egg sandwiches. I'm gonna plug in my griddle, and then I'm just gonna turn this on to 275 degrees. If it's any warmer, it's usually too hot and it might burn my eggs, and I don't want that. I'm gonna oil my griddle, and then if you have a brush like this, you can brush it around. If not, just a paper towel, wipe it around. I have an English muffin that I'm going to toast on here, so I'm just going to set that there for a little bit, and then I'll just keep flipping that. And then I have an egg. Carefully pour that on. I actually like frying an egg on this griddle better than a pan on the stovetop. It just works better for me. Watch, today will not be my day for this. Put a pinch of salt on there. Like 1 pinch is good. A little pepper. I'm gonna flip this. Try to. I'm going to just brush a little bit more oil on there, just so it doesn't stick. Check this. All right, my egg is done. I'm going to let this cook just a little bit more on the bottom. So I'm just going to assemble it on here. If you want just an egg, if you want your egg yolk broken, you can do that. I prefer it not. I like the runny egg. And you can have it like this and be done. Or if you want cheese on it, you can do that. I thought I had some deli cheese and I do not. So I have the good old American cheese. Put on top. Let that sit for just a bit to melt a little bit. All right, it's a little bit more melted. Put that on. It'll melt as it sits too for a couple minutes. Shut off the griddle, unplug it. If you do not have English muffins, you can always just use sliced bread. There's a fried egg sandwich. Next, I'm going to make an egg sandwich that you can freeze. I'm going to take an English muffin. I'm just going to toast it and put it at a higher setting. Mine has 7 settings. I'm just going to put it at a 5 because it's thicker. It's going to take a little longer. Then I need a bowl like this and an egg. I'm not sure where your cooking levels are at, so I'm just going to start at the beginning. There's your bowl. You need an egg. We're going to tap the egg on the side of the bowl. Gonna crack like that, and then you're going to push in, pull out. I have an egg video that I will link below. There's your egg. I got egg on my hands, so I got to wash my hands. Next, I need 1 tablespoon of water, a pinch of salt, and some pepper, just however much you like. And take a fork and break the yolk. Beat the egg. Remember, you're cranking just like this. Start slow so you don't make a mess. And we're going to microwave this for 30 seconds. Then I just break up some of the egg. Most of it is not cooked yet, so just break up a little bit. Otherwise, it'll explode. And then microwave it for 30 more seconds. After 30 more seconds, there's still a little bit uncooked. So I'm just going to break it up one more time, just a little bit. And then I'm going to go 20 seconds. Take out your muffin and put some butter on it. If you let the butter sit on the hot English muffin, it will soften it up a little bit, make it easier to spread. After 20 more seconds, my egg is done. I'm going to try to scoop it out, put it on the muffin, and then put some cheese on it, put the top on. All right, I'm going to wrap this up and freeze it so I can have it later. Take it out of the freezer and microwave it for about 1.5 to 2 minutes. Egg sandwich in a microwave. Let's make some French toast. So you're going to need a shallow dish. If you don't have something like this, but maybe you have like a Gladware container like this, that works. That's fine. I'm going to use this one. We're going to start with 2 eggs. Remember, push in, pull out. Tap it to get a crack. Push in, pull out. And then I have half of a cup of milk. I just have skim milk. If you have 1%, 2% whole, that's fine too. And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. This is perfect the way it is. You can break your yolk and whisk it all together to mix it. If you have cinnamon, if you like cinnamon, half of a teaspoon of that. Again, this is fine the way it is, but if you happen to have some nutmeg, just a pinch of nutmeg. You don't want a lot of it. It'll be too strong. So just a little pinch. Mix that together. Just going to mix this up until it is well combined. You will see the cinnamon and the nutmeg floating around on top. That's okay. I turned my griddle on to 275 degrees. I'm going to let that heat up just a little bit, and then I'm going to add some oil to it. This is the bread that I have. It's kind of falling apart, but perfect for French toast. My griddle's getting hot, so I'm just going to drizzle some oil, brush that around. Take a piece, dip it in one side, flip it over. You can use any kind of bread. Breads from the bakery are really good in here. On there. If you have like a cinnamon swirl bread or cinnamon raisin bread, that's delicious like this too. I'm getting to the bottom of my batter here, so I'm just gonna try to soak it all up. That looks good. All right, I got 6 French toasts out of that. And then just carefully check the bottoms every once in a while. They're still not, they're almost done actually. These are looking good. I think we are done. These are really good with whipped cream and berries, or Cool Whip and berries, maple syrup, of course. I have some of my homemade Chucky applesauce. I'm just going to put that on top and have it that way. And that is how you make French toast. Next, I'm going to make blueberry pancakes. 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 tablespoons of sugar, half of a teaspoon of salt, and then I need some milk. I have just over 1/3 cup of evaporated milk. I'm just going to top it off with some skim milk, just enough to make it 1 cup. I think it's a little over 1 cup, but that's okay. Stir that together, and then add 1 egg, and then mix. All right, the batter is a little lumpy, but that's normal. I'm going to add 1 cup of blueberries. You can use fresh or frozen. I have some that I had froze. Whisk that together. And then I'm going to get my griddle ready. Make some pancakes. I almost forgot, you need 2 tablespoons of melted butter. If you do not have butter, you can also use 2 tablespoons of oil. I'm going to put this griddle at 275 degrees, let it sit for about 90 seconds, and I'll get some oil on it. All right, drizzle some oil, spread it around. All right, I think some of these are done. That one's finished cooking. I'm just going to keep cooking the rest of this. And that is blueberry pancakes. Thanks for joining me today. What is your favorite breakfast item? Let me know down below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.